Welcome to this build log from Micro Flash, my 3-pound combat robot. I'm Jason, the creator of Team Rocket Robotics, and today we're talking about designing and building the weapon here that I just spun around in front of this robot. So first things first, this weapon is a steel bar about 6 inches long, but I think it's 1.5 inches wide by about 1/4 inch thick. All told, it clocks in at around 200 grams, so I don't know exactly where that falls on kind of the weapon mass scale for the 3-pound combat robots. It's probably somewhere in the middle. I know there are some that are a lot bigger, and I'm sure there are probably some that are, a lot less massive. But the process began with me designing this thing in Photoshop by drawing a rectangle. I know, such complex designs. But I did go ahead and I had to mark a few holes for where the drive pulley is going to go ahead and screw into the weapon. And then with that complete, I went ahead and using a sawzall, I cut the steel bar roughly down to the size of the weapon. And then once it was cut, I used some spray adhesive and I attached this template down to the steel bar. There, I was able to use this template to not only mark the holes where I had to drill, but also to get fairly smooth edges of the side of the weapon and end up with something that more or less will spin pretty symmetrically. So when it comes to any kind of spinning mass like this, you want it to be balanced. Any little bit of off balance will cause the whole system to wobble, and in theory, if there was enough mass and it was spinning fast enough, it would destroy itself. Now, in the case of a 3-pound robot like this, there probably isn't enough mass to actually cause that violent self-destruction to occur, but it is important to at least be thinking about that, because I know I probably didn't get it perfectly balanced because it is all hand drilled and whatnot, but it's pretty darn close. Now let's take a look at assembling the actual drive system here of the weapon motor. For this step, I had to go ahead and basically hack together some fingertip tech robotics pulleys. Obviously there's a larger one on the weapon, a little bit smaller one on this kind of more beefy quadcopter motor that I have. The larger pulley had to bore out the shaft so that it would fit on the 3/8 inch weapon shaft that I have here in the front of the robot. For the back pulley that sits on the motor, I had to bore that out a little bit into it with 3/8 of an inch so that it could sit on this little lip that the quadcopter motor had, and then I had to go ahead and drill some bolt holes in either one of them and make sure that I did it precise enough so that I could align the bolt holes with the holes I drilled in the weapon and also with the 3 little holes that appear on the top of the quadcopter motor. Now, here's a funny little thing with these little tiny metric bolts. They're M2 bolts, and the local hobby store is the only place you can find M2 bolts, and they only sell ones that are 8 millimeters long. Now that's not enough to go through this full disc of the finger tech tip robotics pulley, so I had to actually drill some inset holes in the actual pulley so that the tops of the bolts could go down a little bit below basically the top of the pulley and therefore actually be able to screw into the quadcopter motor below. Well, there you go. That's pretty much the entire weapon system assembled. Now of course I'm still rocking the 3D printed frame here, so there's no way I'm going to go ahead and fire this weapon system up, let alone use it to hit something. So in order to find out if it's actually halfway as decent, I'm going to have to take the time to build the final aluminum frame pieces. And now that I've got the weapon system in here, I've got all the last details I really need to know about this frame, so I can do that in the not too distant future. However, I think for the next build log, what I am going to be doing though is building the armor panels. So I have a few armor panels that loop around here around each of the wheels, and then I have one that's going to sit in the back here that kind of covers up the battery, because you don't want to be having that thing completely exposed to enemy weapons, because fire explosion. So that's going to be what the next build log is about. Right now, as this thing currently stands in my hand, it clocks in at around 950 grams. So I still got about 400 grams of weight available. So I'm pretty sure once I add the armor and the aluminum frame, I'm still going to come in underweight. So which means I may go back and beef up the weapon a little bit. Maybe I can go back and beef up some of the aluminum frame. We'll see once I actually do some testing and if I have time to go ahead and actually make some more stronger components before competition time. Because like I said, competition is November 3rd, and I am running a little bit out of time, but I think I'm going to be all right and make the deadline. So once again, I'm Jason, the creator of Team Rocket Robotics. Go ahead and follow me here. Actually, follow me here. Subscribe to me here on YouTube, different terminology. Follow me over at twitch.tv if you want to watch some of this build process live. And with that, thanks for watching.